Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking on this fabulous time of your sort of hectic schedules. I know it's the 1st of May. Some of you guys would be on a holiday mode. Some of you guys have taken a long holiday as well. But I think having said that, once again, very warm welcome for all of you guys. We've been doing this, I think, at IIGC for some time now, and this is our second of what we call our Mindful Influence series. I think at the backdrop of what is happening in terms of being played at the IPL, plus, the nation sort of, I think, clearly in this whole spirit of playing cricket every single day, we thought it was only a rightful, opportune moment to perhaps use this as a way to sort of, I think, connect people as creators in this space and as senior marketers both to come together to share some experiences. So just a couple of introductions for everyone. We have three very interesting marketers. We have Sujatha, who's been the ex-marketing head at Visa. We've got Jaikishan Chapru, who is currently leading all of media, PR, and digital across ITC as a group. We've got Surya, who manages a very interesting brand called Namaste India. And we have three extremely interesting content creators, Anmol, a gentleman called Devashish, and most importantly, someone who's called Camerawala. So without little much more from my side, I'm going to start with some questions. And I'll start with, I think, just one lady who we have in the audience with us. Sujatha, for you. I think clearly, I think with cricket being just a religion in this country as well, obnoxious amounts of money being spent on this game. Yeah, as a marketer, in one word, yes or no for spending money on this big, massive opportunity called cricket? You're on mute.
Sorry, I said that's a tough question for a one-word answer, but I think if you're asking me yes or no, it has to be yes.
Okay, so I'm going to prod you if it's yes. Yeah, as a marketer, when you say yes, does it mean to sort of, I think, really sort of put this big money across IPL, or you sort of would want to sort of, I think, spread it in some smaller bursts?
So I would like to have said yes, but because the brand I just headed to recently, we didn't do cricket, we did other sports. But what I'm seeing is, as having been in marketing for over 25 years, cricket is something that joins the country. Is it IPL? IPL is where lots of eyeballs are. It's where people come, to enjoy, and it's not just one target audience. You have men, women, children, old, you have all age groups coming. So it's a great place for a brand to come with any messaging because they get all of their target group in one sitting. But apart from that, of course, when you have the more serious watchers, then when you do test matches, one days, you get the more serious audience. But given that we're right now in IPL, I would say for a brand, IPL is a great place to be seen, but you have to make sure your content is engaging because there's so much clutter. And if you're not engaging, then you can come and go without people even realizing that you're there.
Fabulous. So we've got interesting creators as well. I'm going to shift to Anmol. Anmol, you've been someone who's been on the corporate side of things. You've been a marketer. And then from that space, you're now kind of playing a role within Delhi Capitals. How exciting has this journey been for you?
I think my forte is content creation. So I don't know much about marketing, that how marketing people, corporate people think like, but I think we represent people. And I think that's why Delhi Capitals have chose me as one of their creators. Because maybe I have some features looking like KL Rahul, or maybe uh, I represent Delhi in general in my content. So I guess it's more of a go for them कि हाँ ये दिल्ली वाला लड़का है, इसको इसलिए अपने इन्फ्लुएंसर वाली टीम में ले लेता है, मतलब इन्फ्लुएंसर नहीं, कंटेंट क्रिएटर आई वुड से.
So tell us more about that reel you did for KL Rahul, and it kind of really took the world by storm. So could you बताना चाहेंगे in terms of sort of what made you make that reel?
Actually I used to get lot of comments कि you look like KL Rahul, मतलब when I wear cap actually. तो I think next day it was KL's birthday, so उन्होंने बोला कि कुछ look alike पे करते हैं. तो मैंने कहा ठीक है, आप just send me jersey and cap, let's do this. So yeah, it was good, it was fun doing that.
So was it a nice collaboration, or was it more a surprise from your side for him?
It was a collaboration actually. I don't think it has reached to KL yet, but
Got it. So I'm going to flip to my friend Jay, and Jay has been someone on the media side of multiple brands while he also dons the hat at ITC currently. I think what's your thought in terms of, I think, with so many brands advertising across, in terms of opportunities like IPL or cricket, is there too much of an overkill, Jay, in terms of, I think, brands to stand out? Or you think that if you do some great content, you can stand out?
Okay. So I definitely believe there's a significant amount of clutter that has kind of come in. And the key challenge for any brand is how do they stand out? Because outshouting means spending significant amount of money. And to be very candid, I actually had to Google to see who are the sponsors for IPL this season. I wasn't aware that Tata is the presenting sponsor to start with, because the kind of advertisers you see that are targeted to you on digital are brands like Rajshri Pan Masala, Vimal Pan Masala, Signature Pan Masala. Then you have Dream 11, My 11 Circle. Even the Appy ad has got a casino on it. So from a brand perspective, what is the neighborhood I'm getting into here? But if I'm a brand which is targeting families, do I want to be in a neighborhood of pan masalas, gambling apps, or even it's not the right neighborhood to be in here. And if you actually look at the sponsors and actually did that maths, I did that search. See it, Wonder Cement, Angel One, Rupe, Gillette. These guys were missing, man. I don't remember seeing any of their ads on IPL. So either you end up spending a significant amount of money, or you need to be very smart in terms of identifying the sweet spot between content and live telecast.
Well, that's interesting. So what you're saying is, clearly, I think you've got to find out in terms of something interesting to kind of make it work for you. So, what about yourself? In a spot of being a bit of a challenger brand to legacy sort of companies within milk as a category, you're in a space in terms of being able to create for new exciting opportunities. Ab bata rahe the in terms of, yes, you sort of do, I think, use this space as well. So what are some of your thoughts around, new age brands doing things around cricket as a backdrop?
Okay, so I actually there was a lag in your voice, so I am assuming this is addressed to me.
It is Surya. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I actually, quite, agree with the statement that Jazz, just mentioned. I was told you earlier before this session that we've already launched a campaign, which is a national level campaign that we wanted to, run through this. And we had a really good, I mean, I was actually assessing and finding out what are the platforms that we should be visible, whether OTT will be right. And, every year I receive IPL pitches and different, like I would say exciting opportunities which are, available to us. But the same thing that we feel how and what is, because we are young in terms of market, in terms of as a brand, although we have a legacy of RSPL, Ghadi detergent is very loud into the market and we are number one into the positioning. But Namaste India has a very, fresh feel to the, market. We do not want to, set up a traditional method and then do it. So we were debating on whether we should be taking that space or not. So you wouldn't believe we have strategically avoided that space where we don't want to, get into. We will. It's a majorly Hindi-speaking belt that we are targeting. But yeah, specifically cricket is something that we have specifically, modestly avoided. I would say I wouldn't go that harsh, but yeah, that is what we are looking forward for. And yes, the content is the king. So whatever playfulness that you can introduce, that is what we have been working on. So the communication routes that we take is in a funful, specifically targeted toward younger audience who who has the catchy lines and who understands this lingo. So we are looking forward for that only. So that's what we were planning while we were planning this entire campaign.
Interesting.
So then, yeah.
Sumesh, I think a lot of us, have seen a very interesting sort of journey of you sort of putting out, I think, content through your lens of the camera. So tell us, for example, as someone who's a content creator, how much of a high do you get every day by getting that right moment captured, or those few images, and sort of, I think, what is your sort of, I think, sort of feeling of being felt good about? So, what is your sense of highness? Is it therefore 1,000 people liking that one picture or one video of yours, or it's about people reaching out to you?
I believe कि everyone who is a content creator is a storyteller. Like me as a filmmaker, I believe मैं एक visual storyteller हूँ जो visually and with my voice present करता है story को. आपने जैसे पूछा कि what gives you the high? So when I go सनराइज में मैं जब भी सुबह जाता हूँ एंड देन व्हेन व्हाटएवर आई इमेजिन कि मुझे ऐसा कुछ फ्रेम मिले, कुछ ऐसी स्टोरी टेलिंग मैं अपने पिक्चर्स या वीडियोस के थ्रू लोगों तक पहुंचा पाऊं, वो चीजें मुझे मतलब अच्छी लगती कि मैं अपनी कहानियों को लोगों तक पहुंचा पाता हूँ. इट्स नॉट व्हाट कि मैं कहीं जा रहा हूँ और उस जगह के बारे में नहीं बता रहा हूँ. मैं वो भी ट्राई करता हूँ कि उस जगह की कहानी भी लोगों तक पहुंचाऊं और साथ में क्या मेरा एक्सपीरियंस था, हाउ आई कैन पर्सनलाइज इट, लाइक नॉट जस्ट कि उस जगह के बारे में बता रहा हूँ बट कैसे उसको पर्सनलाइज किया जाए ताकि जो लोग मुझे देख रहे हैं या फॉलो कर रहे हैं वो मुझसे भी जुड़े rather देन सिर्फ जस्ट कंटेंट से. तो इट्स लाइक दैट. तो इट्स नॉट कि मैं सिर्फ लाइक्स या फिर नंबर्स के लिए वो करता हूँ. इट्स मोर लाइक कि मुझे ये चीजें बचपन से ही पसंद थी. लाइक जब मैं फोन से खींचता था तो मैं अपने घर वालों को ये चीजें दिखाता था एंड उनसे अप्रिशिएशन जब मिलती थी तो दैट मोटिवेटेड मी ऑलवेज कि और मैं कुछ कैप्चर करूं, क्लिक करूं. सो इंस्टाग्राम एज अ प्लेटफॉर्म या यूट्यूब एज अ प्लेटफॉर्म, इट हेल्प्स यू टू गेट अ engagement that like provides you कि आप जो अपनी कहानी लोगों तक पहुंचा रहे हो वो लोगों को कैसे लग रही है, लोगों से आप एक फीडबैक भी ले रहे हो और समझ भी रहे हो और अपने स्किल को भी डेवलप कर रहे हो. लाइक आई हैव नेवर बीन टू अ फिल्म स्कूल और एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक कॉलेज फॉर दिस, बट मुझे लगता है कि घूम के ट्रैवल करके और जगह जगह पे जाके एक्सपीरियंस करके आई हैव लर्नड अ लॉट. So this is.
आपने इतना sort of travel किया है, is there a place आप एक जगह है कि sort of आप बार बार जाना चाहते हो?
आई थिंक ये सवाल सबसे ज्यादा मुझे पूछा जाता है कि अगर आपको कहीं आज ही बोला जाए कि आपको कहाँ जाना जाना है तो आप कौन सी जगह चूज करेंगे. तो आई थिंक कि एक कोई स्पेसिफिक जगह नहीं है. इट्स मोमेंट, द एक्सपीरियंसेस. फॉर एग्जांपल बनारस में जब आप विंटर में सुबह सुबह अर्ली मॉर्निंग बोट पे बैठ के निकलते हो और यू सी अ लॉट ऑफ फॉग और बहुत मिस्टी इन्वायरमेंट होता है, वैसे ही आप जब समर्स में लद्दाख या फिर कश्मीर या फिर स्पीति जाते हो तो वो बहुत ज्यादा सुंदर लगता है. तो इट्स टोटली डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द सीजन कि कौन से सीजन में कहाँ जाना चाहिए. आप गलत सीजन में गलत जगह चले जाएंगे तो वो भी एक दिक्कत हो सकती है. तो आई बिलीव कि हर जगह इंडिया में इतनी खूबसूरत है, बस हमें ये जानना जरूरी है कि हमें कब जाना है वहां पे.
Fantastic. Great sort of thought in terms of picking a choice of the place basis the season. I'm going to come back again to Sujatha. While you sort of did mention that, as a company, Visa hasn't done much along cricket and consciously stayed away for some reasons, of course, at some point. You've taken a different route to go beyond the cricket to a lot of other cricketers,
Yes.
non-cricketers. Yeah. So what's your sort of thought or what's your sort of experience which you can share at large in terms of, is there a world beyond of cricket? And if at all, I think, what should brands do?
Absolutely. There is a world beyond cricket, and it's a far less cluttered world. So I think that's, one of the areas brands should explore. When I was at Visa, Visa has been the global sponsor and is the global sponsors of the Olympics and FIFA, both hugely watched sporting events. So what we did is we decided to go with the icons of the Olympics in India. So we got Neeraj Chopra and PV Sindhu as Team Visa athletes and did a lot of campaigns and work with them. Both of them are undoubtedly the top sports people in their areas. And someone, for example, Neeraj Chopra has the affinity and love of 1.4 billion Indians. Like every single Indian loves him. And what's more interesting is beyond metros, he sees a passion amongst the tier 2, the non-metros, the youth who are coming up. And I think they identify with him. And I think because these are events that is not where it happens all the time, and all brands are not there, it's very easy for a brand to stand out when you choose to be present and associate with that.
So working with Neeraj would have also been, I think, a bit of a, I would think, a high, right? In terms of working with someone who's picked up a gold for India. What is that sense of sort of fandom that a marketer has working alongside someone who's really sort of, I think, got India the penultimate?
You know, you say that he's got India the gold, which is true, but he's possibly the most down-to-earth, simple person you can meet. So when working with other brands, I've interacted with, Bollywood, with cricketers, and then you come and meet Neeraj, and he is so down to earth. If you didn't know, he could just be the boy next door. And what he says is that literally this happens once in 4 years, this type of opportunity to shine. What people don't see is what happens every day. And that's what he wants people to say. He wants more of the youth to come into sport and realize that, yes, there is glory, but there's so much that has to be worked on, the training, the diet, nutrition, the rigor to do that. And he's actually wanting to do that more and more with the youth all across the country. So like I said, it was wonderful to work with him, especially since he's such a simple, down-to-earth person.
I'm going to hold you to that, and I'm going to move to who's now playing an interesting role for Rajasthan Royals. So Devashish, are you around? Devashish, for you, I think, you come from a very sort of small place like Bikaner. And, what is your journey from sort of a small sort of city and getting out there to creating content, and that in a very different format in terms of sketches and in terms of creating stories around, you've sort of created stories around जैसे कि family की बातें होती है, and around that entire sort of mold. So what is your sort of, I think, some experiential thought आप बताना चाहेंगे? I think he's just dropped. I think for some strange reason we don't have him. Yeah. And we'll try and sort of get him back around as well. But let me, in that case, just kind of go back to Surya. The fact that you sort of create a lot of content as well. How often is it a challenge to sort of, I think, create content with people that, are difficult working around with? When I say difficult, obviously sort of they have, all the sort of reason, as Sujatha just mentioned, he's not as sort of easy to work with, but you've got to make sure that you really pamper that person. So what is your thought in terms of working with creators who sort of need to get pampered and are not as simple as Neeraj?
Okay, I will tell, so I'm going to share two stories. It's very interesting. One, which Sujatha has already mentioned, Neeraj is very down to earth. And I am talking about when he was not, that much celebrated. And we were doing a, marathon, which was named as a Soldierathon. So it was specifically planned for, security personals, army people, all people actually who were who protect us. So we were doing, it was first time in India, and we were doing it in Delhi, and Neeraj was part of it. And I was interviewing him obviously I was managing social media, so I just interviewed him. Someone told me he was, I think, back then he was only 23 somewhere. And he was not celebrity, and he was just a normal athlete you can count on. And I interviewed him, and he was so genuinely talking about everything that is only game, nothing else. And I am so right, when I saw him reaching to that level, when he actually achieved what was his goal, he was very clear about it. So the interview that I took, I mean, 4 or 5 years back, when he actually got the award, the gap was actually, he was actually cooking himself, I mean, the recipe that is needed to lead that. And he's that focused. So people who have that much focus about their own trade, they don't bother about any aesthetics of what is supposed to be done and what is not. It is that kind of people have a different storytelling. Similarly, the space that you were talking about, I was reaching out to an influencer. I asked my teammate to reach out to an influencer to come to us in Delhi to shoot some content. The request that was made by the influencer was had a long list of requirements that is supposed to be maintained, which is very usual if you're asking any celebrity influencer to come down to create content and shoot all things. But it was not just the influencer, it was influencer plus XYZ. I really want to highlight that the influencer wanted one room for herself and the other room in the hotel for the friend of the influencer, and that room has to be linked with with the room. That was specific
I can see
request.
Soumesh is smiling for sure, and I'm going to come to you immediately as well. If Soumesh is making such other requests as well, that chalo, theek hai,
And think about it, I
मैं
was
एक
just
आ रहा हूँ आपके पास, हाँ जी. Yes, Surya, go on.
And think about it, it was just a reel that I wanted to shoot, but the request was so long that I decided whether it is money or not doesn't matter. But the thing is, I have to cut down myself to a level because I don't want to get into any chaos. After what you've requested, I have done, and there is
But
X,
you,
Y.
but did you finally get to the request following or not?
No, I had to
You
deny
didn't.
it. It is not about budget. Obviously,
So,
budget
reel हुई नहीं हुई?
nahi hui.
नहीं हुई. Okay. So
Otherwise,
now
it's about to come.
we've got Soumesh who can perhaps still do the reel for you, and I'm going to come to Soumesh.
Yes.
Yeah. Clearly के sort of आप बहुत sort of types of sort of content बनाते हो, for example, right, Soumesh? And tell us in terms of are there genuinely times where you do things clearly which sort of I think just you feel for that brand कि मान लो कि sort of ये brand आपसे कुछ बोल रहा है and you just feel कि नहीं, let's just do it. What's your perspective in terms of sort of really being with the thought process of that brand?
मेरा ये मानना है कि काम को लेके लोगों को सीरियसनेस लानी चाहिए. लाइक इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि आप सिर्फ वीडियो डाल के आप गायब हो जाते हो अचानक से. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट कि आप किसी ब्रांड के साथ जुड़ते हो तो आप उसकी एक स्टोरी लाइन के साथ जुड़ रहे हो, उसके पास्ट के हिस्ट्री के साथ जुड़ रहे हो. तो व्हेन यू आर वर्किंग विद अ बिग ब्रांड एंड विद अ गुड स्टोरी लाइन, लाइक विद अ गुड पास्ट, आपको कुछ चीजें छोड़ देनी चाहिए ब्रांड के ऊपर कि अगर ठीक है कुछ चीजें अरेंज नहीं हो पा रही, जैसे कि जायसवाल जी ने कहा कि एक रूम चाहिए, साथ में एक और अटैच चाहिए, तो वो सारी चीजें बाद की बात होती हैं. वो सब चीजें जरूरत नहीं है. जब आप एक वीडियो बना रहे हो, आप कुछ चीजें कुछ प्रमोट कर रहे हो, तो अगर आप कितने कम रिसोर्सेज के साथ वो चीज कर सकते हो, दैट्स व्हाट मेक यू डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर्स. एक टर्म है इन्फ्लुएंसर. आई ट्राई कि मैं उससे कभी भी कनेक्ट ना हूं, क्योंकि मुझे वो टर्म नहीं पसंद. इट्स मोर लाइक कि मैं एक इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं कर रहा हूं. मैं जो चीज कर रहा हूं, मैं आई डोंट वांट कि आप इससे इन्फ्लुएंस हो, बट आप कुछ समझ के जाओ, कुछ सीख के जाओ, कुछ मतलब जरूरत हो तो आप ले लो, ऐसा टाइप चीज है. तो मेरा ये मानना है कि जब भी मैंने बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स के साथ काम किया है, तो मेरी कोई लिस्ट नहीं होती ऐसी कि आप ये सर्टेन चीजें कर दीजिए, ये चीजें कर दीजिए, क्योंकि मैं अगर लॉन्ग टर्म किसी के साथ जुड़ना चाहता हूं, अगर मैं किसी के साथ बहुत आगे तक काम करना चाहता हूं, और इफ दे हैव अ गुड स्टोरी लाइन, देन आई विल डेफिनेटली गो विद इट. जो भी रिसोर्सेज होते हैं, जो भी चीजें होती हैं, उसके साथ आई वर्क विद देम. तो दैट्स द
Lovely. Anmol, I think you're creating content, you have a style of your own, and a lot of your style is around, I think, creating for, I think, doing things around emotional sort of storytelling through comedy as a genre. आप बताना चाहेंगे in terms of sort of, I think, what made you feel that this is perhaps the thing that will sort of excite you to create content?
आई थिंक हम जितना भी डिनाई कर ले, बट मेजरली जो ऑडियंस का रिस्पॉन्स है वो मैटर करता है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे. तो मुझे लगता है कि कुछ ऐसे, अगर कुछ परसेंट ऐसा हो जहां पर रिलेट करे ऑडियंस किसी चीज को लेकर कि हाँ यार, और उसके अंदर मैं एक मिडल वे ढूंढ लूं कि लोग भी रिलेट करें, मेरा अपना भी उसके अंदर एक झलक दिख जाए मेरे स्टाइल की, तो आई थिंक.
Hi, sorry, I was unable to connect.
No
Hello.
problem, Devashish.
Anji.
We've got you back. Give us a minute. I'll just
Actually,
come back to you.
I am a software developer, so I have a habit of joining meetings as company meetings. Sorry.
नहीं, कोई नहीं. I'll just come back to you in a few seconds. We're
Sure,
just having a good
sure.
chat with Anmol. बोल रहा था कुछ, हाँ जी. Carry on, Anmol. अब बता रहे कुछ.
या तो मतलब ओवरऑल यही रहता है कि एट द एंड ऑडियंस को भी पसंद आए, और आपका मतलब कि एक जो आर्टिस्टिक सोल होती है, जो हम कह लें कि कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स की, तो वो भी सेटिस्फाई हो जाए इस चीज को लेकर। तो आई थिंक यही विन विन सिचुएशन है पूरी, कि दोनों की ही ये सही रहे।
Okay. So Devashish, now that you're back, मैं बोल रहा था कि naturally sort of your story has been from a small town in Bikaner, from Bikaner to sort of I think creating stuff around the current opportunity at IPL with even Rajasthan Royals. आप बताना चाहेंगे in terms of sort of I think what has been really this sort of fascinating journey for you to be a content creator, creating things I think with this entire different genre of doing things around creating stories, creating visuals.
देखिए मैंने एम आई ऑडिबल है ना?
Yes,
हाँ जी।
yes.
मैंने कंटेंट बनाना स्टार्ट किया था बिकॉज ऑफ माय लैंग्वेज। हमारी जो मारवाड़ी लैंग्वेज है, राजस्थानी लैंग्वेज है, वो इतना मेन स्ट्रीम कॉमेडी में नहीं थी उस समय में। आज से 2 साल पहले मैं ये मराठी कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स मुझे बहुत फैसिनेटिंग लगते थे कि यार अपनी अपनी लैंग्वेज ये यूज करके इतना इतना फन क्रिएट करते हैं। इन्होंने नॉर्थ इंडिया को कुछ कुछ मराठी वर्ड सिखा दिए थे, ये इतना इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहे थे इंस्टाग्राम को कॉमेडी में। तो धीरे धीरे फिर मैंने स्टार्ट किया ये मारवाड़ी कंटेंट क्रिएट करना, और उसके बाद फिर मैं मेन स्ट्रीम कंटेंट में आया हिंदी में बेसिकली। सो यस, अभी जर्नी एकदम बढ़िया है। राजस्थान रॉयल्स के साथ कनेक्शन मुझे इसलिए मैं जुड़ा उनसे, और उनको मैं इसलिए अपनी टीम में लेने लायक लगा बिकॉज ऑफ माई लैंग्वेज टच, है ना? क्योंकि अगर देखा जाए तो चेन्नई के पास क्या धोनी है ना? आरसीबी के पास क्या विराट कोहली है। तो कल्ट फैन बेस उनका उन प्लेयर्स की वजह से भी है उस स्टेट में उस फ्रेंचाइजी का कल्ट फैन बेस। सो राजस्थान रॉयल्स को ये चाहिए था कि हमारे पास हम कल्चर से भी जुड़े। टीम का सोशल मीडिया कंटेंट तो बहुत किंग है, वो तो हम सबको ही पता है। उनका राजस्थान रॉयल्स का एडमिन थोड़ा ऐसे बहुत ही जनरली बहुत अवेयर है मीम्स को लेके भी। तो उनका यही था कि उनकी टीम का यही था कि हम एक राजस्थानी कल्चर लैंग्वेज से भी जुड़ना है हमें, है ना? तब उन्होंने मैंने और उन्होंने हमने मिलके अब जैसे आप देखेंगे उनके प्रोफाइल पे, मेरी प्रोफाइल पे और उनके प्रोफाइल पे जो भी कोलैब रील जा रही है वो राजस्थानी में ही है। मैंने एक राजस्थानी कैरेक्टर बेसिकली उनको दिया है। तो वो भी मतलब टीम भी आजकल जितनी भी फ्रेंचाइजीज है, वो अब दिल्ली की जैसे फ्रेंचाइजी है तो वो अनमोल के साथ कहीं ना कहीं उनका जो स्लैंग है ना? और वो दिल्ली, मेरा ननिहाल है दिल्ली, तो मुझे पता है, मैं बचपन से दिल्ली रहता आया हूँ। तो वो जो नॉर्मल स्लैंग है ना, तो वो अब जैसे मुंबई इंडियंस है वो मराठी में भी कंटेंट बनाती है। विराट कोहली जो इंटरव्यू देते हैं उनको, वो एक जो कैरेक्टर है उनका आरसीबी का। तो ये सब चीजें जो है थोड़ा थोड़ा कल्चरली फ्रेंचाइजीज आजकल बहुत ही ज्यादा अटैच होना चाह रही हैं, अपने लोगों से जुड़ना चाह रही हैं। तो वो कहीं ना कहीं मेरे बहुत काम आया। उसके बाद मैं बहुत ही ज्यादा क्रिकेट मैं फॉलो करता था, और टीम के साथ मतलब ये मैं बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी मानता हूँ। मैं 3 साल से राजस्थान रॉयल्स के साथ जुड़ना चाह रहा था, बट इस साल ये पॉसिबल हो पाया है। तो यस, इट इज़ अ वेरी बिग अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर मी। और मुझे ये लगता है कि फ्रेंचाइजीज की ये थिंकिंग है आजकल, और इसीलिए कंटेंट क्रिएटर लोग, अब जैसे मैं अपने आप को लोकल कंटेंट क्रिएटर तो चलो ठीक है मैं मान लेता हूँ, पैन इंडिया हूँ, बट मैं हूँ राजस्थान से, मैं राजस्थानी कंटेंट क्रिएटर अपने आप को नहीं मानता। तो फ्रेंचाइजीज क्या कर रही है, अपने लोकल स्टेट क्रिएटर्स को लेके भी आजकल धीरे धीरे अब लगभग सारी पंजाब में भी वो पंजाबी बोलते हैं। तो ये बहुत ही अच्छा लगा मुझे कि
तो आप बोलना चाहते हो कि ये ट्रेंड
लोकल
ज्यादा
क्रिएटर्स को, हाँ जी,
it will become more popular in time to come. Even for example, there'll be more emphasis in terms of hyper local as well. कि जैसे आप बीकानेर से हो या कोई जोधपुर से है या कोई मारवाड़ से है, so you will have more and more, they'll be creating more people in time to come as well.
एग्जैक्टली, बिल्कुल, डेफिनेटली।
Got it, got it. Very interesting. And having said that, I think Jai, are you still around?
Yeah, Kushal.
Yes, so I think we've heard from people having creating content in all these languages as well. For a company like ITC, which sort of I think almost serves 1.4 billion people, different products across your value chain as well. How important is it therefore in terms of this ability of getting down to choosing people like the likes of Devashish and many others who are able to sort of, I think, do things for very specific communities, ethnicities, and languages?
Okay, so Kushal, a short answer to that is we definitely are looking for hyper-local influences. The long answer to that would be if you actually look at how uh, the way we have grown up and how the Indian community has kind of actually evolved over a period of time. Much before the time the influences actually came in, each family used to have one uncle or auntie who used to be sought after whenever you wanted to do any kind of high-end purchases like a television or a refrigerator or something. So you would end up going to that uncle or that person to say, "Ki boss, नया TV खरीदना है, क्या खरीदना है?" So you wanted an opinion leader to kind of come and help you out. Today, with the advancement of platform with social media platforms, there are multiple people who are actually available to kind of give you a reference or recommendation or expert opinion about a variety of things. Okay, so there is a positive as well as a negative on that. Uh, the negative is that you also have people who, for whatever reasons and malicious intent, want to kind of go behind a brand and try to kind of pick up issues unnecessarily. But at the same time, the pros actually outweigh the cons, because today, if you look at it, when we have a new message to go to a certain cohort, okay, so we basically try to identify who are the key opinion leaders for that particular cohort. So whether it is a segmentation by language or geography or whatever, it's a certain cohort or a cohort that we're trying to kind of connect with. So going forward, whether it kind of translates into having a cohort of people speaking Rajasthani and let's say following a Rajasthan Royals team, or is it a cohorts of let's say uh, people who are health conscious and they follow some nutritionists and dietitians, or it's a cohort of people who are interested in knowing what are the best skincare regimes for an Indian skin rather than following, let's say, a Korean or a Chinese skincare regime. So, those are the kind of partners we would want to go ahead with to address the queries for, let's say, the larger masses in India. And as you rightly said, when we have a base of the entire country who's consuming some ITC product or the other in some form or the other, you would want to kind of reach and convey it in the same narrative as they're more comfortable with in terms of consuming that message.
Interesting thoughts. I think as a marketer, I think some very interesting insights, Jay, for sure. And it's not just, I think, whether it is, IPL or cricket matches. I think cricket has been a universal language. Sujatha, I'm sure that, I think all of us have, almost everyone on the screen has seen Lagan. Some of us, depending on our age, may have seen the same Amir Khan in a younger avatar playing Aval Number, if you remember that movie as well. And cricket has been also part of movies as well. So as a marketer, do you also sort of, I think, utilize the thought of being able to add texture in a piece of content which could be entertainment as well? And how do you look at that, I think, lens, Sujata?
No, it's a great point, because like I said today, content is king, because what we've seen is with the advent of so many screens, if you don't get your consumer in the first 3 seconds, you've lost them. So brands, I think, have realized that, and we moved on from just talking about the brand. And there's always has to be a way of engaging your consumer. And there are many different possibilities for that. Like I said, in India, the 3 top ones are Bollywood, cricket, and music. So these are the 3 things, and different brands take different. But absolutely, I think if you say movies about cricket, there are movies about all of the big things that happen. Why is there so much of Bollywood associated with cricket, or so much of cricket associated with Bollywood? Because there is the propensity of these 2 things to come together. As a brand, what you want to do is you want to engage with your consumer where they are already at. You're not trying to pull them to you, but where they are present, how do you fit there seamlessly? So you make sure you are targeting the right group, and with content that anyway they are absorbing that at that point. So this will seamlessly go along with it.
Interesting. सोमेश, आप मुझे बताइए in terms of I think जैसे कि sort of I think clients or brands are sort of I think wanting to create new ways of creating content, right? So बहुत बार brief आता है आपको sort of say for example कुछ अलग हटके करिए for example, or specifically saying यही चीज करनी है whatever as well. So what is your thought that how should, for example, is there a typical way of a brief coming to you for creating a content piece, or you feel as a content creator कि you have enough creativity कि आप someone like Sujatha or Jay, you can tell them that मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ आपके लिए.
सो मोस्टली क्या होता है कि जब आप ग्रो करते हैं विद टाइम एंड यू मेक अ सेट ऑफ कंटेंट अराउंड यू. फॉर एग्जांपल आई क्रिएट मेरा एक कंटेंट पीस है दैट वेयर आई रिक्रिएट द बॉलीवुड म्यूजिक. सो देयर देयर मस्ट बी कोई पुराना गाना होगा एंड उसको मैं अपनी स्टोरी लाइन से अपने कुछ स्टोरी उसके अराउंड बनाऊंगा. आई विल हायर 2 एक्टर्स एंड देन आई रिक्रिएट दैट म्यूजिक. So what happened recently? I worked with Delhi Capitals, जिसमें I recreated a old song and उसमें when the couple is like traveling across Delhi, जब वो घूम रहे हैं अलग अलग जगहों पे, there are posters around the city जिसमें जो दिल्ली कैपिटल्स की टीम मेंबर्स हैं वो दिख रहे हैं. So it's like very subtly done. कोई भी इसमें लाइक ऐसे डायरेक्टली आई डिडंट लाइक सेट कि दिल्ली कैपिटल्स या वैसे कोई भी चीज नहीं, ऐसी बात है. इट्स वेरी सटली डन. तो ऐसे कंटेंट पीसेस बहुत अच्छा चलते हैं बिकॉज इट प्रोवाइड्स दोनों एंड को देखते हैं, लाइक द व्यूअर्स आल्सो एंड द कंपनी, जो भी ब्रांड है उनके भी पर्सपेक्टिव को. आपने जिस तरीके से आपने जो बताया कि ब्रीफ के बारे में, तो देयर आर ब्रांड्स जो स्पेसिफिकली बोलते हैं कि आपको ये लाइन बोलनी है, ये चीज बोलनी है. तो वो चीजें कभी कभी होती हैं जब आपको क्रिएटिविटी नहीं मिलती प्रॉपर, तो वो वीडियो देख के भी पता चलता है, उसमें रीच नहीं आएगी उतनी, उसमें इंगेजमेंट नहीं आएगी उतनी. तो आई ऑलवेज से टू द ब्रांड कि अगर आप मेरे को स्पेसिफिकली बोलेंगे कि ये चीज कहनी है, ये चीज ऐसे करना है, तो मैं पहले ही उनको प्रॉमिस करता हूँ कि देखिए अगर आप ऐसा बताएंगे तो फिर नहीं हो सकता. उसका रीजन ये है क्योंकि लोगों को ऐसा 10 सेकंड चाहिए जिसमें वो हुक करें एंड देन एक स्टोरी में आप ले जा रहे हैं एंड देन आप मार्केट कर रहे हैं ब्रांड को. सो अगर वो चीज हम ना करें, हम डायरेक्टली बोलें कि आप ये चीज खरीद लो और ये ऐसा हो जाएगा, तो इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. तो मैं
So
हमेशा
what I'm hearing from you, Somesh, is that I think you obviously are playing a very interesting personality of being a little bit of a director within your own self, कि आप जानते हो in terms of what will work. जैसे आपने बताया था कि for example what you did with the Delhi team right now, that you don't need to really have show and tell, and you need to sort of really make it play for people to sort of work. And I think that is really the power of good storytelling, that you don't need to put logos out there as well. So can you share, for example, ये जो campaign हुई थी, for example, you know, what was their engagement levels? Was it very high? Was it good? Was it fantastic?
It was too good. Like the video crossed more than 1 million views and a lot of engagement. I think there are 7,000 shares of the video, a brand video, 7,000 with 7,000 shares, and not just with Delhi Capitals. I worked with Olympic Khel. Cricket was being introduced in Olympic in November or December. तो तब मैंने एक उनके लिए वीडियो बनाया था. That also crossed more than 3-4 lakh views with just like visual, like a storytelling कि कैसे मैं बचपन में क्रिकेट खेलता था एंड देन अब ओलंपिक्स में भी क्रिकेट आने वाला है. तो इस तरीके से आई लाइक इंट्रोड्यूस्ड माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस विद द ब्रांड. सो इस तरीके से जब मैं चीजें करता हूं तो इट गोज ऑलवेज वेल. तो एंगेजमेंट के लिए इस टाइप के कंटेंट हमेशा चलते हैं.
Thank you. Surya, I think, you've obviously got some very interesting creators right here. You can pick and choose who will not have some demands as well. But has there been situations where, you really have to necessarily shout out and say, you need to make sure that in the first 15 seconds or the first 10 seconds, your brand logo must show, and be honest about it?
Okay, I agree with Sumesh, and I really want to give the freedom, what he is seeking for. In usually, in a scenario when we are briefing about the reels and the kind of content that we want, we definitely want that freedom to be coming in. But there are brand guidelines that we do not want to avoid, and usually what happens, when I mean this is a scenario where there could be a tussle that whether you want to choose that or this. Usually what happens when you choose the freedom, you don't have the understanding of the industry, right? So what if you are using the right words with the competition keywords? You're getting my point? Because you don't know where there is a competition or not. So the freedom that you are actually choosing may backfire to us. So that has to be a little bit, I would say a little bit pruning is needed if there is a content that is supposed to be created. Otherwise, it will be, I am creating content for myself, but the recall value of Amol, for that matter, is way higher than what I am creating for. And usually the content creator comes with an idea which is almost similar to what they've already done, because it's a generation that they have been creating content from. So that that synchronization is somewhere missing. So to balance it out, so stand out from the competition that you have, we have limitation, we have finalized these are the zones that we need to work on. So a little bit pruning is needed. I wouldn't say in my
So
personal
I like
space.
I like the word pruning. Yeah, you're not sort of you're not being sharp as a marketer to say do this only. The softer word you're using is pruning. And when you're using the word pruning, I'm going to move to Devashish. Yeah,
Yeah.
Devashish, we've got Surya who's going to sort of prune you to create content in Marwadi, for example, and he will just say, Abhi, maybe in this sort of language, something else as well. So I'm going to pick on you again, Devashish. Bataiye in terms of, I think, what excites you to sort of, I think, create that piece of content, which sometimes, like you said, sort of, this tickles someone in that language, in that locality, and it must stand out. I mean, बताया था कि, for example, that at some point the Maharashtrian content became very big as well. So, is there something within yourself to make sure that some piece of community content must become viral?
Basically, what was my motivation? हमारी जो ये जो भाषा है ना मारवाड़ी, या टू बी प्रिसाइज राजस्थानी, मैं यहाँ भी जैसे अब हमारी राजस्थानी को मान्यता प्राप्त इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि यहाँ आपस में बहुत लड़ाई है. कोई कहता है मारवाड़ी रियल राजस्थानी है, कोई कहता है मेवाड़ी रियल राजस्थानी है, कोई बोलता है जयपुर वाली मारवाड़ी. तो आपस में इतना क्लैश है ना, तो हमें अभी तक
आप कौन
मान्यता
से हो?
नहीं मिली. हाँ
आप
जी,
कौन से हो? आप कौन से हो?
मैं मारवाड़ी, मेरा मतलब नहीं, सॉरी, मैं राजस्थानी ही हूँ.
चलो ठीक है, गुड. You made
हाँ,
it
यहाँ
national, okay.
जैसे मैंने भी डिफरेंशिएट कर दिया. हाँ, तो इसलिए हमारी क्या लैंग्वेज, वो हम उस लैंग्वेज में एग्जाम नहीं दे सकते, हमें वो लैंग्वेज पढ़ने में नहीं मिलती. तो आने वाली जनरेशन में ये लैंग्वेज विलुप्त हो जाएगी, खत्म हो जाएगी, जीरो, है ना. हमारी आने वाली जनरेशन को नहीं पता होगा कि हम कैसा बोलते थे. आज जैसे मैं 2 जनरेशन पहले की मारवाड़ी सुनता हूँ तो मुझे कुछ समझ ही नहीं आता.
Have you also sort of got opportunities to sort of, I think, get around there and do something do exactly what you want to, Anmol? कि आप दिल्ली टीम के लिए कुछ भी बना सकते हो basis some, I think, open-end brief from them?
आई गेस आईपीएल के ब्रांड्स जो हैं, जहां तक मुझे लगता है, और देवशीष और सोमेश भी मेरे ख्याल से एग्री करेंगे कि प्रूनिंग कम है उस चीज में, कि वो आपको इतना नहीं बताते
सारे
कि
लोग
ऐसे
यही
बोलो.
शब्द यूज करें. Surya,
हाँ,
you
मुझे
made a
मुझे
new
लगा
word for
कि
everyone, clearly. So I think big takeout is going to be that the word pruning is been coined by Surya today for sure.
आई गेस
Well, yeah, I take it.
Yes,
आई गेस
Anmol.
ये चीज है कि मतलब कि आईपीएल ब्रांड्स जो हैं, कि आई गेस कि इनकी पोस्टिंग कंसिस्टेंसी ज्यादा है एक तो, क्योंकि दे वांट टू गेट इन, उन्हें टच में रहना है बिल्कुल अपनी ऑडियंस के साथ. तो आई थिंक पोस्टिंग कंसिस्टेंसी ज्यादा है, इसलिए हमारे साथ तो मतलब इतना नहीं होता कि ऐसे करो वैसे करो. वी गेट लॉट ऑफ फ्रीडम इस चीज में. और जो चीज मुझे लगती है कि अगर आप देखो कि स्टेट वाइज हम क्रिकेट टीम है, तो बेसिकली यही है कि आप एक अपनी अपनी राज्य की टीम से, अपनी स्टेट की टीम से जुड़ पाओ. तो आई गेस ये बहुत अच्छी चीज है कि कंटेंट क्रिएटर भी रिप्रेजेंट एरिया, जैसे देवशीष राजस्थान को करता है. मतलब समहाउ आप मतलब कि ये हम कर नहीं रहे हैं, इट्स एक्चुअली हमारा डायलेक्ट ऐसा या फिर हमारी बोलचाल ऐसी है कि वो चीज ट्रिगर कर जाती है ऑडियंस को. तो जिसकी वजह से वो कनेक्ट, मतलब कि एक पर्टिकुलर कनेक्ट कर जाते हैं वो एक जियोग्राफिक एरिया के. तो आई गेस उसी पर बेनिफिट मिलता है हमें कि
So
अपनी
when it
फेवरेट टीम
is
को सपोर्ट कर पाए.
so team language के ऊपर humor, what is the next thing to be added as well? तो already आपने 3-4 sort of elements तो जोड़ दिए. So by default then does it mean that if you sort of get all these elements together, it becomes a recipe for success of good content?
I think there is some recipe and I'm trying to find out what it is. But I think कुछ चीजें हैं जैसे social currency है. Social currency हो गया कि what makes people good, feel good अगर वो आपका content share करें तो. मतलब कि do they feel like insider? अगर मैं एक डेली बेस्ड कुछ कंटेंट बना रहा हूँ तो डेली के लोग उसे ज्यादा शेयर करेंगे क्योंकि दे फील लाइक इनसाइडर कि हाँ यार ये तो मुझे पता है, और दे विल फील लाइक कूल कि भाई हाँ ये हम अगर शेयर करते हैं अपने दोस्तों के साथ तो मैं पहले कूल बन जाता हूँ कि उससे पहले वो मुझे शेयर करें. और समथिंग लाइक ट्रिगर. ट्रिगर बहुत छोटे हो सकते हैं कि अ, जैसे बोलते हैं कि एक बुक है उसके अंदर बोलते हैं कि ट्रिगर इज टिप ऑफ नहीं टिप ऑफ टंग टॉप ऑफ माइंड. कि मतलब जो चीज आपको लगता है कि काफी लोग सोच रहे होंगे तो आप पहले इंसान बन जाते हो बोलने वाले, जिससे मतलब कि लोग कहते हैं कि हाँ यार ये तो हमारे दिमाग में भी आया था. हाँ, तो यू जस्ट कन्वे अ मैसेज फ्रॉम पीपल जो उन्हें भी नहीं पता कि वो बोलना चाह रहे थे और उन्हें लगता है कि हाँ यार ये कुछ है. तो
Very interesting
हर
thought. I'm going to hold you to that, Anmol. And Sujata,
हम्म,
I think this content creator just said something that I think will fascinate marketers as well. That I think what he's saying is that he wants to be the first person to echo that thought right at the tip of his tongue, and he puts it out as well. What's your thought in terms of, I think, Sujata, when you sort of have worked with tons of content creators at Visa as well, and creators come and tell you very insightful stories of this sort? Does it give you a sense of a large comfort that you've got the right people working for you in terms of creating content?
No, absolutely. I think as brand people, we need to do less pruning and as the word of today, and actually, talk to they're the reason they are influencers. They are experts in their specific category. They understand the areas. They have nuances. They are able to talk about it in a way that engages in the audience. So I think when we work with them, and I've worked with them with influencers across brands, it's never here, take this and say, because there's no use. We might as well just say it from our own handle there. If we're going with an influencer, it is to say, hear from them that they obviously are working with the brand, so they do understand the brand, but how do they feel is the best way to put something across? What is, the thing that's absolutely on top of people's mind right now? We won't know it, but they will. What will get viral? Again, they will know it. And that's so important because, in the mass clutter of content outside, every creator, every brand, every marketer is looking for that piece of content to go viral. And I totally agree. Who better to tell this to us than the people who are creating that content themselves? Of course, we will always have to apply some sort of brand filter because it has to sort of fit within the vision, the ethos of the brand. But as long as it fits within that window, I've always been very open to let the creator come up with their best way of expressing it because that actually reaches and touches the audience much better.
Lovely. Sumesh, there's some questions coming in for you as well, but I'm going to just try and put that question for you in terms of how do you try and make content extremely relevant? We're talking about cricket right now, or a context which is being set as well. How do you really make it sort of, I think, get that sort of reason to make it feel that it is most appropriate for the time of day or for that moment, or like what Devashish mentioned, Sujata mentioned, that you should have some triggers, right? How does it work for you?
See, mostly my content is around travel, storytelling, and the experiences that I experience. So,
Good.
जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल समर का सीजन चल रहा है तो मोस्ट पीपल वुड लाइक टू सी अराउंड माउंटेन्स की हाँ पहाड़ों में क्या चीजें क्या कहानियां हैं वो मैं देखूं ताकि मैं जब जाऊं या फिर कुछ लोग इंस्टाग्राम इज मोर लाइक फोमो व्हेन यू कैन क्रिएट फोमो पीपल विल फॉलो यू लाइक अगर आप पहाड़ दिखा रहे हो आप समंदर दिखा रहे हो तो हर कोई नहीं जा सकता अपने काम और 9 to 5 जॉब को छोड़ के बट दे वांट टू सी कि एक्चुअल में मतलब क्या क्या चीजें हैं क्या क्या चीजें की जा सकती हैं एंड उसके लिए वो आपको फॉलो करेंगे एंड मे बी समडे व्हेन दे विल रीच द माउंटेन व्हेन दे विल रीच द समंदर के पास जब वो पहुंचेंगे तो उनको वो चीजें याद आनी चाहिए जो आपने उनको बताई थी तभी आप उनके साथ जुड़ पाए हो। तो मेरे को लगता है कि हर चीज का एक सीजन चलता है। लाइक फेस्टिवल के टाइम में एक फेस्टिवल ओरिएंटेड कंटेंट होता है, समर्स के टाइम में थोड़ा समर रिलेटेड, it totally depend upon the type of thing that's occurring, like जो चीजें आसपास हो रही हैं उसको एक कंटेंट क्रिएटर को जानना समझना जरूरी है कि आजकल क्या चल रहा है, और उसके लिए एक्सप्लोर करना, और देन अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस को उसके सराउंडिंग क्लियर करना कि कैसे किया जा सकता है।
आपने a couple of very interesting storytelling through visuals as well. Jai also runs a very large hotel chain as well called ITC Hotels. And aapne bataya that word that you sort of used very clearly is that FOMO works on Instagram as well, right? So for some platform like Gram, I think what is that lethal combination of, say, for example, a hotelier. So say, for example, Jai, has a property in a new city being launched, yeah. And what is it that someone like Jai should sort of, how does Jai work with you, Somesh? Is there a set brief? What should be that way of getting work done like magic and to create that right FOMO?
अगर किसी होटल को मैं जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल प्रमोट कर रहा हूं, तो व्हाट आई विल डू कि मैं रादर देन जस्ट प्रमोटिंग द होटल, आई विल एक्सप्लोर ऑल थिंग्स अराउंड द होटल। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज अ होटल इन दार्जिलिंग, आई विल नॉट जस्ट से कि मैं यहाँ हूँ दार्जिलिंग में, इस होटल में हूँ। आई विल राइड द ट्रेन, द लोकल ट्रेन ऑफ दार्जिलिंग, यू मस्ट हैव सीन दैट। तो वहां से आई स्टार्ट द वीडियो सो दैट पीपल विल गेट एंगेज्ड। अच्छा क्या होने वाला है, अच्छा ये, देन आई विल शो कि मैं दार्जिलिंग था तो मैं ये आपको बताना भूलिए कि यहाँ पे एक मुझे किसने इनविटेशन दिया, या फिर मे बी मैं किस रीजन से आया हूँ। एंड देन आई वेंट टू दैट थिंग कि हाँ ठीक है, होटल के बारे में फिर थोड़ा सा मैंने एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में बताया कि यहाँ पे और क्या क्या चीजें हैं जो एक्सपीरियंस की जा सकती है। मतलब व्हाई यू शुड बी लिविंग इन दैट होटल, आई हैव टू सेल दैट थिंग कि आप यहाँ पे इस होटल में क्यों रहें, आपको क्या फायदे होंगे, आप ये 10 चीजें घूम सकते हो, आप ये एक्सपीरियंसेस ले सकते हो इनसाइड द होटल एंड आउटसाइड द होटल। इट्स नॉट जस्ट द होटल, इट्स ऑल अराउंड इट। तो वो चीजें एक्सप्लोर करना। एंड देन हर जगह की एक लाइक मोस्टली जो लोग ट्रैवल और इन चीजों से रिलेटेड हैं उनको पता है कि हर जगह का एक सीजन होता है। यू वोंट बी गोइंग गर्मियों में या एकदम एक्सट्रीम ठंड में। एक्सट्रीम ठंड में आप लद्दाख नहीं जाएंगे, या फिर एक्सट्रीम ठंड में आप ऐसी जगह नहीं जाएंगे जहाँ पे बहुत ही ज्यादा एक्सट्रीम कंडीशंस हो। तो उसके लिए उस सीजन स्टार्ट होने से पहले कैन बी डन, द प्रमोशन कैन बी डन, ताकि जैसे ही सीजन स्टार्ट हो देन दे हैव थिंक कि हाँ मैंने उसकी वीडियो देखी थी कि वो वहां जा रहा था उस टाइम पे, तो वो चीज मुझे शायद एक्सप्लोर करनी चाहिए। तो वो लोगों के दिमाग में कैसे डाला जाए वो चीज उसके अराउंड की जा सकती है।
Fantastic. So, Jay, you've got a storyteller, you've got a traveler, you've got someone who can direct this film as well. Is this the winning combination that a marketer chooses in deciding that people like Soumesh can do a good magical job for ITC, or what different brand that you could think of?
Yeah, Kushal, I think it's an interesting mix and a motley mix. I think only the buy now button is missing, so we should just add the buy now button at the bottom of it.
Sumesh, आपने sort of buy now button तो नहीं दिया in this video, but चलो ठीक है. I'm sure that there will be an opportunity that Jay and you are going to talk together as well. But having said that, I think I know we are running closer to, I think, just little time left as well. But I'm going to go back to Anmol. I'm going to go back to Somesh, and I'm going to go back. So all of y'all can sort of keep your mics on, all three creators as well. What is that one space, YouTube or Instagram?
Instagram for me.
Instagram.
So I have both the channels. I have YouTube channel also and Instagram. But I believe कि content is something जो ऐसे सोच के नहीं बनाना चाहिए कि YouTube के लिए ही करूं या सिर्फ Instagram के लिए करूं। मैं दोनों के लिए कभी कभी कर लेता हूं। When I feel कि मुझे YouTube के लिए कोई वीडियो बनानी है लॉन्ग फॉर्मेट, तो मैं वो कर लूंगा, एंड देन आई कैन कट इट डाउन into pieces and then I can upload them on Insta or Shorts. तो मोस्टली अभी आई एम ट्राइंग कि जब मैं अभी रिसेंटली मैंने YouTube में उतना कंसिस्टेंट नहीं था, बट आई थॉट कि क्यों ना मैं लॉन्ग फॉर्मेट वीडियोस में काम करूं, एंड देन आई कैन कट इट डाउन टू पीसेस एंड देन अपलोड ऑन Instagram. तो दोनों चीजें अलग अलग हैं मेरे को लगता है। इंस्टा इज मोर लाइक कि आप उसको एक डेली डोज की तरह आप समझ सकते हैं। यूट्यूब इज मोर लाइक कि आप एक महीना लें और एक अच्छा सा एक वीडियो बनाएं एंड देन उसको छोड़ दें, ताकि वो धीरे धीरे डेवलप हो। यूट्यूब में जो वीडियो बनती है या अपलोड होती है वो लोगों को बहुत सालों तक दिखती है। आपको 12 साल पुरानी वीडियो भी अचानक से आपके सजेशन फीड में आ सकती है, और शायद 12 साल पहले आपने किसी ब्रांड को उस वीडियो में इंटीग्रेट किया था, तो 12 साल बाद भी वो ब्रांड लाइक आपके ऑडियंस तक पहुंच रहा है। और इंस्टा इज मोर लाइक कि वो उसका जो इंगेजमेंट है वो कुछ टाइम तक रहता है, 8 दिन 10 दिन, कभी कभी महीनों तक, बट विथ टाइम वो डिक्रीज होता है। बट इंस्टा इज मोर लाइक डेली डोज, जो कि आप डेली आप लोगों से मिलें, लोगों से मुलाकात करें। और यूट्यूब इज
So
मोर लाइक
daily dose and perpetual love.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? The difference between Instagram and YouTube. So you go and snack out there. Yeah, you'll snack what Jai Kishan will sort of, I think, give us lots of snackable items. I'm guessing he's got all of our emails and sort of numbers as well. He's going to send all of us some goodie box of, I think, his new set of candies from ITC or some biscuits as well. But आप जो बोल रहे थे कि there's definitely love which happens on YouTube. What is that? I think I'm going to take the marketers now, and I think if the marketers can all put your mics on, Sujatha, Jay, and Surya as well. When you're thinking about creating content, what typically happens is there something that happens in your mind saying a YouTube first campaign or an Insta first campaign? What are your thoughts?
So I think the way it happens is it breaks on Insta, and then you kind of try to drive traffic to the other platforms to showcase the larger content piece.
Yes, Sujatha.
Yeah. So I said, like, for me, actually, like what Soumesh said, when I was a visa, we used to do a lot around travel. Now, when you're talking about travel, there's a lot that has to be done. So then we would go for YouTube, but if it's, and then cut it short to, Insta Reels, or if it's, something quick like security, pay safe, those type of things, we would do Insta. So we would do both. I think they have very separate roles, and both are very important for a brand.
What's your take, Surya?
Okay, so for me, Insta, again, yeah, I am like 100% agreeing on Soumesh. It's it's snackable item that you can think of, but long-term YouTube. For me, when I'm splitting the budgets, I would definitely, give more volume to YouTube, because I see, a lot of visibility that is there. Insta is, it is limited space that we are playing in, although it is very, very much, consumed, but the visibility is comparatively lower than YouTube. So I prefer YouTube over Insta. That's how we split the budgets.
I know we're running short of time, but just as a bit of a closure for the audience who's sort of listening in as well, we've had a fantastic afternoon with 3 exceptionally talented marketers. We've got some very interesting creators who've joined as well. And while we've learned questions, while we've learned things in terms of what should be in a script, while we've learned whether we should prune or not prune, while we should learn whether we should perhaps give opportunity of language, I think it's been a fantastic sort of afternoon of learning, of sharing, and I couldn't say thanks better than to say we'll sort of come back again perhaps for one more round of an interesting discussion, whether the theme is IPL, cricket, content, and more. Thanks once again for taking out this awesome time. Yes, we'll catch you back on your reels. We'll catch you back on your YouTube channels. Stay tuned for us, and let's make content and marketing symbiotically work for all of us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone.